Morning. Uh, I need to take just a moment this morning and do a quick, I don't want to say rebuttal, but comment, I guess, on something I'd seen. Uh, Actually, Keezy, a friend of mine, and a great advocate for vaping. I mean, I respect her to uh, extremes. Uh, had commented on a video. The video itself isn't that important, but if you're interested, I'll put the link in the description. But basically, the video was this guy. He was saying, he was actually saying that vape stores and stuff need to not lose sight of the smokers that to start vaping because yeah, they're the future for the most part of where vaping is going to go. They're the ones that are going to be vaping. But he started out by saying that the vaping community is divided, and it's different factions, the hobbyists versus the people wanting to quit smoking, et cetera, et cetera. And Kesey apparently had a different perspective, and I wanted to comment on her post. I would have done it, but it was just what I had to say is just too much to type. So very quickly, she says this guy has some good points, but all right, dedicated vapors are past smokers. Most of us have common sense and know what a smoker needs to quit. It's the hobbyists that are making it hard for smokers to quit. They simply do not get what this technology is for and why we fight for it. They just want to show off and brag. They're not here to help the smokers. They're here to push limits. Pretty simple. Help the smokers. Okay. So that being said, I have a few concerns, I'm afraid. And I'm probably going to piss her off. And I'm sorry, Kesey. It's not my intention, but I just can't keep quiet at this point. Um, but I do have a few concerns about some of the statements that are made. All right, dedicated vapors are past smokers. Not in every case. I know several people that are smokers and vapors and dedicated vapors at the same time. I myself started out that way. I did not start vaping in order to quit smoking. I've been vaping for over 7 years. I started in 2008. I smoked and vaped until it'll be about a month and a half now, just over a month actually, October 14th, in fact. It will be 7 years since I had my last cigarette, but that was coincidental. It was not intentional. I smoked for over 40 years. I started when I was 9 years old. I was smoking every day. I smoked 3+ packs a day for more of those years than I can remember. All right. And I never intended to quit smoking. In fact, the reason I started vaping at all was so that I could get that nicotine hit when I was someplace where I couldn't smoke. And this way back when, this was just a year or so after e-cigarettes were introduced to the United States. And this is what an e-cigarette was back then. It was this was an Enjoy, my very first e-cigarette. I've still got it. It was an Enjoy pen style. Had this little tiny battery that sucked. I had to keep two or three of them around and keep them on the charger all the time. Had these 801 huge atomizers and these little cartridges that held a tiny little amount of juice, and that's what I was using at my desk and stuff and places that I was at where I couldn't smoke. And when I was someplace where I could smoke, I smoked. So a lot of vapors are dual users, and a lot of vapors, dedicated vapors, have no intention to ever quit smoking. They vape because they love it. Some of those people are cloud chasers. A lot of those people are hobbyists. All right? But they're not intending to quit smoking, and they enjoy both. All right? So just so dedicated vapors are not necessarily past smokers. A lot of them are. Uh, Says, most of us have common sense, know what a smoker needs to quit. Okay, that's true. It's the hobbyists that are making it hard for smokers to quit. I don't see that as being true either, at least not in every case. In fact, the hobbyists are what keeping this industry alive because we'll go to that next segment in a minute, and I'll support that statement. But in truth, uh, I consider myself a hobbyist even though I no longer smoke. And I don't check clouds. Okay, I have. But on the general rule, I just vape because I enjoy vaping. All right? I do try to help smokers that are interested in quitting quit. I don't proselytize. What I typically do is if I see somebody that's that's a group of people, like, say I'm driving, I'm out and around and by the hospital or whatever when I have to go to a doctor's appointment, whatever, and I see a group of people standing outside in a designated smoking area, and they're all standing around there puffing on their cigarettes. I'll park the car and walk over to this group of strangers, and I won't say a word. I'll just stand in there and pull out a, pretty good sized big ass box mod, you know, and I'll take a couple vapes and I'll enjoy it. And if I keep quiet, I'll wait, and eventually somebody will ask about it, and then I'll explain. And at the end, when everybody's fixing to break up and go back, after I've talked to them about vaping for a while and answered their questions, again, I'm not pushing, I'm just telling them the advantages. And when they get ready to go back in, the last thing I will do is I will give them a very quick lesson on how to stealth vape and say, you know what, you don't have to come out here in this fucking Texas heat and stand out here just to have a cigarette when you can do this anywhere you are. You can go to the bathroom where at least it's nice and air conditioned, sit down, have a few vapes. You don't have to blow these huge clouds. I actually advocate not blowing huge clouds in public. Yes, I love it when people do that. I do it myself sometimes when I'm at vape shops or at vape meets and stuff like that, where it's an appropriate venue, okay? In public, I vape everywhere. I vape everywhere. I vape in courthouses, hospitals, intensive care units. I vape in grocery stores, movie theaters, and you can be sitting right beside me against my shoulder, and if I don't want you to know, you will never know I'm vaping, and I'll vape through the whole damn movie, but I don't blow clouds of smoke, and I don't use really aromatic vapes when I'm in public. Okay? So understand where I'm coming from on this. Not all dedicated vapors are past smokers. Some of them are still smokers. Some of them never smoked. All right? So some of them, let's not confuse stop smoking advocacy with vaping advocacy, okay? There is some confusion there, and I don't want to divide. I hate seeing all these divisions: hobbyists, dedicated vapors, people that quit smoking and they're advocating vaping to quit smoking. I don't like this flavor of the month club. We're not Catholics, Jews, Protestants. We shouldn't be divided like that. All right? I know we are, but we shouldn't be. All right, then she goes back and says they simply do not get what this technology is for. Let's be real. And this is why I say it's the hobbyists that are keeping this industry alive. What the technology is for is back around 2007, 2008, the Chinese come up with this device that they can make some fucking money. They saw a hole in the market. They flooded that market. Oh, there's all these smokers out there. This is a healthier alternative to smoking, and you can use this to smoke anywhere. That's what it was. That's where it started, okay? It wasn't started to help people quit. It was started to make money, all right? And people like me that smoked and were in increasingly more difficult situations where, they were tightening down. You can't smoke here, you can't smoke there. It allowed me to get that nicotine fix. Didn't mean I was going to quit. I didn't intend to quit. I eventually quit just because I started using the electronic cigarette more than I was reaching for that pack of cigarettes in my pocket. And one day I suddenly realized, October the 14th at noon 15, 2008, I realized that I had had the same pack of cigarettes in my pocket for 3 days because I was vaping, even when I could smoke. At that point, I crumpled them up and threw them. I had my last cigarette and threw them away. Haven't touched one since. But I never intended to quit. It was just a lucky side effect. All right? Serendipity, if you will. All right? The technology isn't for anything except for people to enjoy and companies to make a profit. All right? So Let's not say I'm better than you are because I advocate this instead of that, or I'm a cloud chucker. I got this high tech. Yes, we need to focus. Okay, we need to focus. If it's not making a profit, forget the advocacy part. If it's not making a profit for people that are selling this stuff, they're going to stop selling it and they're going to go into somewhere else. And this is why the vape shops are focusing more on advanced technologies, and this isn't all that advanced. It's a 40-watt temperature controlled hot stick with a Triton on there. But the nice thing about the Triton is it works just as well for beginners as it does for with the 1.8 ohm coils that come with it, as it does for advanced people, which you can blow some, you can chuck some pretty clouds with the zero point 0.3 or zero point 0.4 ohm coils you get with it. It's easy to use. It's easy to set up. It fills in the top. The coil goes in the bottom. It'll work at all kinds of temperature ranges. I use them at 60% propylene glycol all the way down to 30% propylene glycol, and I haven't, it's 70% vegetable glycerin. All the spectrums. It doesn't leak for me if you use it correctly. It gives a great vape and the best flavor of anything I've ever had. This, in a simple small mod, unless they want something that's a cig alike, and then you go that way. You give them an ego battery and a something like an Aspire Mini or a Nautilus Mini, and you set them up and you're good to go. If that's for a beginner thing for a smoker, I've got several things that I when people come to me wanting to know, what's the best kind of stuff to do. I want to start. I want to quit smoking. I want to go with this. I want to start vaping. Those are the things I recommend. And I have put together and given away more starter kits than I can remember to people that wanted to quit. Some of them quit smoking. Some of them kept vaping and didn't quit smoking. Some of them didn't like vaping and they just gave up. All right? And that's why I tell people when they come talking about, oh yeah, I vape, I enjoy it, I can't quit smoking, I just can't give up those cigarettes. And I firmly believe it's not the cigarettes that you smoke that count. It's the ones you don't smoke. All right. I only ever gave up one cigarette, and that was my last one. All right. That's 7 years ago, but it's still only one cigarette I ever gave up. And I'm not an ex-smoker. I won't tell people that. I firmly believe in my gut that if I had one cigarette, I'd be back to 3 packs a day before you could say Bob's your uncle. All right. So I've never once gone back and taken a drag just to see what it was like. Don't do it. I'm a smoker that just doesn't smoke. I vape, and I love to vape, and I'm a vaping advocate, and I help people as much as I possibly can. And the reason that you're not seeing nearly as many ego blister pack starter kits and shit like that in the vape shops anymore is because people aren't buying them. They're not profitable. People are buying the greatest, the latest, the bigger tanks, the lower nick juices and stuff like that. So suddenly, slowly they're phasing the other stuff out because it doesn't sell. All right. If you want to help the smokers, if you want to make sure that those products are still available, then every once in a while go in there and drop 8, 12, $20 on a basic starter kit and throw it in a box at home and give them away. Give the vendors an incentive to keep them on the shelves. Don't harp on the hobbyist vapors because they think that they're making it hard for smokers to quit. Now, I personally have issues with people that are obnoxious about the way they vape. I don't blow smoke, vape in other people's faces. I don't go in and intentionally set off smoke detectors. I don't blow clouds in public and be totally obnoxious about it. I don't I don't advocate that. In fact, I advocate quite the opposite. When I'm in public, I vape as stealthily as possible. I do not draw attention to myself or my vaping. Everybody that knows me knows that I don't care where I'm at, when I'm at, I'll vape. All right, I do that. Um, and you won't know it because I advocate low profile vaping in public. We do have enough bad publicity going against us. All right, but we shouldn't be divided. And the hobbyists aren't hurting the people that want to quit smoking. All right. A few obnoxious assholes are giving the entire vaping industry a black eye, but that's not the majority of vapors. All right. And remember, the only thing the technology is for making a profit. So if we want to support smokers and make sure that beginner devices remain available, then we have to make sure that those devices are still making the vendors a profit. Remember, it's not the cigarettes you smoke that counts. It's the ones you don't.